Welcome to the Fuck the Generational Wealth Gap podcast. I am Elise Alexander, your go-to fam for everything that comes with the mental baggage with codependency and perfectionism. And really, it's not an easy trip, but you better bet your ass it's worth it and you are worthy of it. Today is episode 11, and I am so freaking excited to introduce you to one of the most amazing humans that I've probably ever met. But that's just my own personal feeling. Oh my God, please, really just like give your open heart a welcome for Dijana. Oh my gosh, wow, as I pronounce your name incorrectly. Okay, now it's just gone.
How that you're excited, my love. I know that you're excited. And you know what? There's no like incorrect or correct. It just is. And I'm just so excited. And I want to say, like, you said this is my perception, that I'm the most amazing person. And I'm gonna just bomb you with a quote for the beginning. Your perception of me is a reflection of you, and my reaction to you is an awareness of me.
If you guys weren't ready for her, you're not ready for her now because this is
We're going in.
You.
We're going in.
Oh
We're
yeah,
going
we're
in.
going
Yeah.
in. Okay, so you guys, today's episode focuses on our fear conversation that we've been talking about. And the series about fear today is going to be about fear of being truly in your own skin. Because I know, and you know, that shit's hard. That is not an easy feeling. And it is definitely not easy to fully be yourself in your own experience and not worry about judgment or concepts or other people looking at you. So the first question that I would love to ask you, my dear, is do you ever feel this moment of like, oh shit, what if everybody sees who I am?
Oof. There's so many ways that I can answer this question, but yeah, that was me. That was me some time ago. Now I'm like, how you see me is your problem. you know and it's like, I'm completely comfortable. It took me so much fucking work to get to a place where I am so comfortable, not just with my skin, my outer is not even matter, but what I stand for. I am so freaking opinionated. I am so opinionated and so loud that I sometimes am obnoxious, and I'm unapologetic about it because it feels right to me. And if it doesn't feel right to someone else, that's their problem, you know? And there was a time when I was such a good girl. Like really, I'm a middle kid. I needed attention. I needed to check all the boxes. I needed to be a professional dancer. I needed to go to the gym. I needed to have the best grades. I needed to have a perfect apartment, perfect kids, perfect husband, perfect job, everything. That was not me. Until I decided that no, this good girl doesn't fit what I want to do, what I want to live, what I want to create as my legacy, because she's just so in this constraint of someone else's reality. And when I said goodbye, it was so freaking painful to say goodbye to that version of me, because that was the only version I knew. And grieving process to
Oof.
saying goodbye to that person is still so sometimes so painful, because it's coming. It's
Mhm.
reminding me, oh, this is comfortable. Let's go back to that. Because this girl, she's okay with the status quo. Yeah. Right. And this girl here, the fierce badass bitch, she's here to defy status quo. And she's like, no, we're not having this conversation again. And it's constant battle, because it took me 40 years to be here. I
Oh,
hope none of you need to experience 40 years but I'm gonna tell you, it was worth it, because now when I look back, the version of me right now is gracefully here because of the version that needed to put up all the shit. And only through that I could become the version that I am becoming, still in the process of remaking. So yeah, was that an
wow.
answer?
Wow. Okay. We're just like, you have so many different nuggets that people don't even see it. First of all, the fact that you said like that you knew that you would have to continue the fight, like, I think there's this idea out there that like we all of a sudden
It's
only
done.
have to do it once.
Yeah, yeah.
But spiritual ignorance and emotional ignorance, it's a real thing, you guys. And I've hit it several times, as I'm sure a lot of my sisters and brothers have also hit it, because we think like, oh, we've had this like one or two experiences. How do we figure it out? But our natural inclination is always going to be to stay safe, especially if you have had experiences in your past that made you feel anything but safe. So, one of the things that I want to ask you is, with acknowledging that you didn't always feel safe in your body, was there a specific age that you were like, oh, snap, got it, this is it?
When I got out, oh, this is a big one, because first, when as a kid I was anorexic, I was bullied because I was a tall, skinny, smart girl, and I was also an immigrant kid. So dealing with the outer, like the body, was always hard for me. Always, always, always. Um, the most beautiful, now when I'm looking back, the most beautiful experience I had with my body was when I was pregnant with my girls. I have 3 girls, and that was the moment where I got fat, like really ridiculously fat.
Love it.
And I was like, I love this version of me. She's chubby and she's like full of herself. And it was such a transformative period for me. And now, just thinking of how our body is able to hold another human being, a full human being, is just amazing. And I started to appreciate, with each pregnancy, I started to appreciate my body so much. And I think my last pregnancy was when I was 34, like Zara will be, Zara will be 7 now, so 34. I would say that was kind of a beginning of accepting that I hold so much gratitude for my body. It takes me places. It carried my babies. It literally holds my soul's purpose. It contains everything that I am, right? And I have so much gratitude for my body. Also, because when I was a kid, I was also abused. That was also the trigger that was always like, oh, you shouldn't look sexy, you shouldn't look beautiful, you shouldn't look whatever that is, because I always felt, oh, I'm just a sexual object. And I needed to go through that as well. So being comfortable with my body, showing my body, and not being triggered by anyone who says, oh, you're so beautiful, but just allowing to come through as a compliment, and accepting it, receiving it as it is.
Okay. For those of you who are not familiar with the receive and give channel, this is exactly what Dia is talking about. Because if you cannot do one, you cannot do the other. So being able to receive is such a big part of what we do, and such a big part of what we want in our lives. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of pushing this rock uphill. I talk about it all the time because I don't want to live a life where everything is harder than it needs to be. Don't get me wrong, I will do the work. I will work my buttocks off to make sure that we get this shit good to go. But there is something I've now learned about myself, and it's something I also know about you, which is that we are no longer available for things that are unnecessarily hard. And there's such
For
a
sure.
key part in that, because being things that are unnecessarily hard has a lot to do with what people say about you, with what people comment on. And something that I have had to release the stigma of is that women cannot be beautiful and sexy and a CEO. And I would love
Mm.
for you to talk about your experience with that, because a lot of women come
Ooh.
to me and they're saying, Elise, we can't like do this, or we can't wear this, or we can't say this, or why are you saying fuck all the time? Like, come at me.
Here's a statement of a guy who I met after I separated from my husband, and we were like friends, and then we're like, okay, maybe there could be a romantic relationship, until the fuck said to me, look at you, all confident, wearing you like, you own the world. And I'm like, yeah, and you are fucking welcome to be in my space. And he was like, who gave you the permission to be so confident? And this is the thing. People who are not confident will always judge you for your confidence. If you can't hold your too muchness, that will trigger other people. And it's so important to be in this space of, hey, you know what? I am too much. And I'm
Oh,
totally okay with it. And I'm just going to walk away from this shit because I don't tolerate this. And, you know, being smart, being CEO, being successful at what you do, and also being unapologetic about it, it's hard thing for women. It's really, really hard, because we are, in one way, in one capacity, we will always fall short, because we are just not taught to accept that we can have it all.
mm.
I'm not saying that we can have it all at once, but we can absolutely have it all. You choose, you create, you decide, and you claim it. But it's only available to you when you actually like consciously conceptualize that it's all there for you, everything. And no one can take it away from you, because this is the most of the times women are giving their power away to other people, right? And this is where you feel like, oh, I'm powerless. Someone told me something and I feel like that I lost my power. No, when you're in your sovereignty, when you're in your truth, when you stand in your own too muchness, it's like, no, like this is the wall that I built, and no one can go like through that wall, because I know myself, I know my boundaries, I know my worth, and that's the whole package. Take it or leave it. Bye.
Mic
Right.
drop. And I love that you mention nice girl training, because it really, like, boys were not taught like that. Boys
Mm-hmm.
were taught to go to work, get a job, get a family. Women
Fight
are
back.
taught, fight back.
Fight back.
Women are taught to marry. We're
Mhm.
taught someone else will take care of you one day. And I remember my father saying that to me, even recently, in me
Be a
seeing,
good girl. Don't yell. Don't say anything. Be a good girl. Be polite, right?
don't create issues, don't create fights. Why would
Why are
you
you such a
be saying,
drama?
there we go? But it is because of people like you and people like my brother's fiance, Alyssa Stegman, who truly showed me the possibility of what happened when you decided to speak up and speak out. Because I want to
Mhm.
ask you about the first time this ever happened for you, because the first time it ever happened for me, I almost threw up. I did not feel good for days. But then after a couple of days, I was like, oh my God, I stood up for myself. Oh my God. But that feeling of hating myself for the first couple of days, I had to let it go. I had to surrender. But I think a lot of
Mm.
people don't know the first time. It sucks balls, you guys. The first time's not fun.
Uh, yeah. Luckily, I think that for me, before I did that, I did so many fearless actions. It was like, it was kind of a
Get it.
training. It was a prep, where I always kind of felt independent. I I'm a girl who escaped from my mom to get married in another country because my ex-husband didn't have the papers. I'm that kind of fucking rebel. So I moved countries and all this shit. But when I needed to really speak up for myself, going also back to where I heard, like, because I was growing up in a bilingual household, and I was always told that I can't speak the language. Of course, my mind was always like, oh, my teachers, my peers, my classmates, they were always saying, you can't speak, you can't speak, you can't speak. And for me, that was like, oh, I actually can't talk, I don't have the voice. As a little girl, I remember the scene, and I'm gonna, you guys, you're gonna visualize this. So I come home, I'm a nerd, I'm a total nerd. I would spend majority of my childhood in my room surrounded by books, and I was literally like geeking out on Victoria Holt when I was 8 years old. Like, criminal novels were my thing when I was 8. And I would put my my Barbies on my bed, and I would come home. One time there was a time when I felt like I was so psyched and so sad and so overwhelmed and angry because these girls were so mean, and they said, you can't even speak for yourself. And I came home crying, and I put my Barbies on the bed, and I said, I was literally motivating my Barbies. The scene, like, you put the Barbies and you say, you are meant for more. One day you're going to be there, and they all will look at you and say, she made it. You are meant for more. And I was like crying and motivating them. And this was the moment where I kind of got myself into this idea of speaking and motivating and really inspiring women to stand up for themselves. And the first time when I shared that story, literally I was called out. I was called out by this person, and she said to me, but you still can't speak. She said about my English, you still can't speak. And I said, never fucking judge a person who speaks 7 languages while you're speaking only one. And then I was like, boo. And
For real.
yeah, for real.
Okay, first of all, that was an incredible story. I 100% acknowledge why it is that you're meant to do this work. And we are already at time, which means that you are going to come back because there is so much conversation to be had about really not experiencing as much of the fear. There's no such thing, you guys, or at least from what I understand right now, there's no such thing as just all of a sudden it's no longer there. But there is a possibility to turn down the microphone. So if you're looking to turn down the mic, Dee actually gave us a beautiful, like, special offer and special guest situation. If you want to mention it on your way out, I would love for you to.
So guys, first of all, like, I would love to invite you to listen to my podcast, which is actually all about the fears and embracing fears. You guys, I am a queen of eating fear for breakfast. And if you want more of that, like eating fear for breakfast, go to Fearless and Successful Podcast. You can listen it on any platform. That's my first invitation. And the second invitation is to, I know if you're hanging out with Elise, you are probably a spiritual badass, and you're all about combining both your intuition and the strategy to make impact and income in this world by really like helping as much as people as possible to get to their dream life. And we are creating a 2-day virtual retreat with some of my favorite people in the spiritual conscious community, and we're going to be covering everything from soul clients to embodiment to you name it, everything. And it's so juicy, you guys, and I want to invite you. And you can go to dianallugolli.com/Elise, and I'm sure that Elise is going to put that in the show notes. Just go and check it out, guys, because this is one of my favorite events of the year, and I'm super pumped to have you in the room.
You guys, if you don't know that this is about to be the sweetest, spiciest, most voluptuous experience that you have not been in this year, let's acknowledge it is almost December, fam. We need to prepare and get ready because we are not the kind of people who wait till January and say, oh, you know what? I got my list ready. Those are not the kind of people we are. We are the kind of people like Dee who dives in for breakfast because we really want to create change. So please take a moment and really acknowledge yourself and where you are in your alignment. And if you don't feel like it's 100%, then you best be here and you best be on both of the places, because it's not just about one podcast. It's not just about one experience. It's about finding a way to integrate. And that's what you do really well, my love. You are a good integrationist as well as a facilitator. So for those of you who want to come back and hang out, because I already know you want to, I'm going to make sure that everything is in the show notes and that we truly bring you back, because you've already motivated me. And that's the thing. It's about motivating all of us. Like, we motivate each other because of what we want, but also we motivate the world. And I think that we forget that. So from my heart to yours, my love, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for just spreading your vulnerability, your heart, taking off all your masks and saying, fuck it, I'm motivate the Barbies.
Yes. And just to add, you guys, don't come to the retreat if you're not willing to dance on the camera. Peace off.
They already know that this is what's up. And if we want to start to, you know, we want to start to hang out.
Oh, we twerk. We twerk.
Okay, I'm going to make sure that we also link your Instagram as well so that they can get as much free content from you as possible. And I love you so, so much. Until next time, my love. Wealth and worth to you guys as always. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Ciao.